Hey students, we are completed apologetic social issues. Well done, congratulations. And we are into religion project, which most of you guys did with Coach Bell and Pastor G last year. So let me first say, whatever you chose last year, please do something different this year than you did last year. Okay, don't double up.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm trusting you on the integrity system with that because I was not your teacher and I don't remember what all everyone did. Now, like we said in class yesterday, you can work in groups of 2, 3, or 4, no more than 4. We're going to sort all that out in class today. I'm going to give you the summary of the project, just speaking without referencing anything here, but then I do want to walk through these details to give you some food for thought. So your team is going to choose a major living world religion. It does not have to be on the list that I have here, but I suggest the list because these are some of the most prominent belief systems in the world today, minus Satanism. I don't think it's very prominent, but it's one that students have often asked to explore. So it's on there because the students that I've taught have been interested to see how that contrasts with Christianity. And that's fine. If you didn't do it last year and you want to do it, you can. What I would like to avoid, however many groups we have, there's 33 of you guys in 11 and 12, and then there's 18 of you in 10. So once the groups are formed and you select, I'd like to not have anybody do the same one. That can get kind of tricky if 2 teams want one. So I'm going to ask you to be flexible because I may say, hey, will one of you be willing to choose something different? Okay. So, from this list or from another belief system that you're curious about, you need to run it by me because it needs to qualify as a religion or at least a quasi prominent belief system. I have had one group do the spaghetti monster thing in the past. I'd like to avoid that if we can. That was just silly. Yes, it's technically a religion, but it's such a farce that it's not really worth exploring. Because what we're doing here is evaluating the credibility, the validity of Christianity in the face of everything we've explored, the 4 mountains, Christ and the Bible and morality and intelligent design and the extreme support and reason that brings to our faith as Christians, as opposed to why does the Nation of Islam believe that so strongly? Why do Mormons, which would claim to be Christian, but I would struggle with that. I would struggle with that because it has such teachings and beliefs that are so contrary to the Bible. The Book of Mormon, some of the things it teaches are so contrary that to me, it does not fall in the Christian category. I don't judge their salvation, but I am concerned for them. And I have talked with Mormon missionaries at length, and I have asked them the hard questions, and they rarely want to engage me in a long discussion, which concerns me too, because if you can bring your cards to the table, if you can defend and validate your faith with reason, as we have done in apologetics, then you ought to be readily willing and able to do that. If you shy away from that, if you run from that, that's a red flag. It's like, you don't want to talk about why you believe what you believe. Why? I'm here. I got my cards on the table. Let's talk about it. But it's interesting how a lot of folks who claim they are invested in their belief system, when you start asking them the hard questions that threaten the structure and the validity of their belief system, sometimes they don't really want to talk to you anymore. That's neither here nor there. But yeah, Hinduism, Buddhism, Shinto, Scientology, atheism predominantly, and then Satanism if you want to explore that. So that the tall and short of it, guys, is whatever you choose, you are evaluating it the same way we evaluated Christianity. What is the point of origin for that belief system? So in class, we talked about how for Scientology, the point of origin is science fiction, right, which is kind of funny. Guy created a religion for a tax break, and people are still paying millions and billions of dollars into that today, believing it as something that's true. It's insane. But yeah, the point of origin, how did it all begin? The Bible gives us, in the beginning, God. We believe God is nonlinear outside of space-time. He is always there. He's eternal, and he is the point of origin. He is why everything began out of nothing. But he was there. Something was not created from nothing. Everything was created from him and by him and for him. It all belongs. So that's our answer for point of origin is God. So you're exploring that with these belief systems. You'll find the same point of origin with Islam and Judaism. They will also say God. So in that respect, those belief systems agree. Morality. We talked about this a little bit yesterday. The morality is the origin of where morality comes from. You won't find it in a lot of these belief systems. In Christianity, we say, well, we're made in the image of God, and everything that's good and right and righteous and true is inside the will of God. And everything that's evil and wrong that brings guilt and shame and remorse is outside the will of God. And that's why we feel that intrinsically from birth. We disobey our parents for the first time. We do something evil or wrong for the first time. And even as a 2 or 3-year-old child, we feel the effects of that. It's amazing. But we're made in the image of God. And so we feel at some level what God feels. And yes, people can become callous to that and deny their intrinsic morality. Everybody does not display a strong moral compass, but we were not created to be that way. That comes over callousness to sin and, repeated failure to abide in the will of God. And those who do surrender to the will of God, even though they may have struggles in this world, they sleep well at night. They know they've got a right and good relationship with their Creator. They know they're making good choices to benefit themselves, their family, and the collective. It's just pretty amazing how that works. So what is like we said, if you do Hinduism, you'll find a lot of great morals. Man, Gandhi, extremely moral, right? But won't deal with the origin of morality. So make sure when you do those slides in your presentation that you deal with that. Here are the morals of the belief system I chose. But what do they say about the origin of morality? Probably not much. But I'd be interesting to see what you find. Who is their key proponent? Christian, little Christ, follower of Christ, imitator of Christ. Our key proponent is Jesus, who is supported by history as a real person in history, who really did what he did and said what he said. And history supports the resurrection and the events of Christ's life, and therefore supports the evidence that he claimed to be the Son of God, and by all evidences, he is the Son of God. Okay, that's our proponent, pretty strong. Any claim that he is myth is ridiculous because you don't have historical credibility if you're myth, like Odysseus or somebody, Harry Potter or something like that. You can't support those things as true. So just the very advent of the life of Christ for us as our key proponent is significant. Who's the key proponent of the belief system that you chose? Were they human? Were they admittedly flawed? Are they dead now? Who came up with that? In Judaism, the key proponent, is going to be God. And in Islam, it's going to be Muhammad. So you're going to find that out. And you're going to explore, who was Muhammad and what was he about? And did he claim to be more than just a man? You'll find that the answer to that is no. And he's dead. And so in this one, you're really weighing, L. Ron Hubbard, a science fiction author, is the key proponent of Scientology. Do I want to put my eggs in that basket of a religion that was created by a flawed human? With Mormonism, it was, Joseph Smith and then Brigham Young, notably historically flawed men who made some abhorrent choices that were not righteous, that were not good. And the Mormon Church would challenge me on that, but good luck proving otherwise. History dictates to me what they did. It's like, why? Why are they continued to be followed? So yeah, explore the proponent. Who came up with this? In some cases, it won't be anyone. It'll just be a vague collection of teachings and sayings and beliefs and myths and writings, but you won't be able to nail it down to one person. So you'll explore that, and then the text. What is the book? We have the 66 books of canon, which we believe are divinely inspired scripture, written over 1,500 years by over 40 authors, from prophets, priests, farmers to fishermen, telling one narrative across 66 books of God's plan to redeem mankind from sin through his Son, Jesus Christ. We have the 48 prophecies fulfilled by Jesus from the Old to the New Testament, with about 600 or 700 years in between, most of which Jesus could not have tricked or intentionally fulfilled, circumstances beyond his control, which is unparalleled. There's you will not find in anything you explore any faith-based or religious text that even remotely compares to the historical, practical credibility of the Bible. So that sets us apart. But look for it. What's their text, and what does it say, and why do they hold it in high regard, and all of that. So that's essentially it, guys. I don't want to make a super long video, but all of that stuff I said is kind of reflected in 1 through 4 right here. I'm sorry, 1 through 5. And then at the end, I just really, once you guys do, what's the point of origin? What's the morality? Where do they say it comes from? Who's the key proponent? Who created, wrote, envisioned this religion? Like for Buddhism, it's Siddhartha Gautama. You'll write more about him. And then what's its text? Once you've explored those things, why do they think that text is credible? Once you've explored those things, the last slides, I want to be your personal thoughts. And if it's a group of 2, 3, or 4, I want the thoughts of all of you. Okay, so maybe a slide for each team member to say, this is what I think about this. This is what I take away. And do you find the belief system you explored to be as credible or more credible or less credible than Christianity, taking into account everything we've learned since we started learning about apologetics? All right, you guys are awesome, and I will look forward to this. It's one of my favorite parts of the year, is just seeing the classes, seeing you guys do these projects, and I know you're going to do a great job. Love you guys.